In last week's Bottom Line, Neil Melancon took us to West Baton Rouge Parish to show us how one timber company there is managing its resources. Neil joins us once again from West Baton Rouge. And Neil, I know there have got to be some white-tailed deer out there. Have you seen any?
Well, Mike, I haven't seen any whitetail out here at this time of day, but I know they're here for a couple reasons. One, there's deer tracks and spoor all over the ground around here. And number two, LSU did a study out here not too long ago that showed that even with 120 hunting clubs using A. Wilbert Sons property out here, the deer population is even growing. A graduate student at LSU tracked several bucks over 2 years and where they were going. What they found is that the bucks tended to congregate where the does were in land that had grown over 5 to 7 years, producing this dense, thick undergrowth that A. Wilbert Sons land and timber manager Vic Blanchard calls deer groceries.
There was very little clear cutting that's gone on in the past. Most of it was what was termed select cutting, and basically that was a euphemism for high grading. Those best trees were taken and the worst trees were left in that stand. Well, that leads to a very high graded, low economically valuable stand. So a lot of what I'm doing in my career is going to be stand rehabilitation to get these stands in a better economic condition as well as more wildlife friendly condition.
Deer management is just one aspect of this land. The trees themselves are a high dollar commodity that must be managed like regular grain operations, save that the final harvest is 60 years from when the seeds are first planted. Edward Daniel, who plants the Wilbert lands, says that if the clear-cut areas were left to grow on their own, they would take longer and might not have the diversity of a planted area. This way, not only can they plant the best trees for the best economic return, the species diversity is greater.
If Wilbert were to leave this, there would be a forest here in 20 years. But by coming out here and putting some better species for wildlife and for economics, they're just improving the overall situation of this forest stand.
As this mimics the natural life cycle of the trees, it works with nature to provide not only the conservation benefits, but the financial stability as well. Blanchard says when it is time to harvest, the best trees fetch the best price.
We'll do what's called a pay as cut. We may hire a certain logging company or contractor to come in and harvest a block, a group of blocks, and as that timber is harvested and brought to respective mills, the landowner and the logger are paid.
Right now, the economics for hardwood is a lot better than the softwood, such as pine. Softwood is used in home construction, which has crashed with the mortgage crisis of the past couple years. Still, the hardwood industry goes through its own ups and downs, but that's all part of the plan. So Mike, while all this may look ugly to the average passerby, this clear cut actually represents the beginning of a natural cycle that starts with a simple seedling and winds up with a sustainability that helps not only people but wildlife alike.
Thanks, Neil. And remember, you can listen to any of Neil's reports on the Louisiana Farm Bureau radio network for a list of stations, or to listen to Neil's reports online. You can click on over to our website, twilatv.org, and look for the link called LFB Radio Network on the left side of the home page. That does it for this edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Join us again next week when This Week in Louisiana Agriculture travels with a group of young farmers and ranchers to the nation's capital. We'll tell you why they went there, what they want in the next farm bill, and why it's important to farmers and non-farmers alike here in Louisiana. Until then, you can watch any of our stories online. You know the website, twilatv.org. For all of us here at This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hope to see you again right here next week.